and welcome into the PHNX Cardinal podcast presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Do me a favor, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. I'm Johnny Venerable, joined by the GM, Saul Bookman. Saul, what is there even to talk about today? I feel like we could just dive right into the combine, maybe talk a little free agency, or no, is something else happening?
Oh man, we could probably just talk about how cool golf is. I don't know.
Yeah, just cover the Waste Management Open.
That's it, man.
Do a recap. Maybe talk a little Pro Bowl recap. If you're joining us today, it's a shitstorm right now with the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. I think a lot of us maybe had hoped that it would have slowed down because of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and then Chris Mortensen of ESPN fame, probably one of the most reputable Big J journalists, national journalists that there are, almost 3 million followers on Twitter, unprompted yesterday, just put out what I think are two of the most damning series of tweets in recent memory. If you didn't see them, well, here they are for you. Chris Mortensen, the odd vibe between the Cardinals and Kyler Murray is indeed alarming. So, I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but beep, beep, because clearly something's happening. Murray is described, this is a quote that Mortensen got. Murray is described as self-centered, immature, a finger pointer per sources. But on the flip side, he is frustrated with the franchise and was embarrassed by the playoff loss to the Rams. And Saul, I know you have on to pick with this next phrase, and has been framed, he believes, as the scapegoat. Now, Mortensen, then the second tweet is just like, come on. Where is this headed? Oh, the Cardinals feel like everything's going to calm down and Murray's going to be their quarterback. And good news, they've got veterans that are going to help advise Kyler. Even Cliff Kingsbury, God forbid his coach helps him out, he's going to look to see where he can find better alternatives to provide leadership for his quarterback. Good hell, where do we begin?
Bring that back up again.
Okay.
One more time. Bring that graphic. Okay, so that last sentence, it says Coach Cliff Kingsbury also is self-scouting where he can provide better alternatives for QB. Is that for Murray or for the Cardinals?
For Murray. Basically, how can he better support him in his leadership quest? Which is just I don't even know what you say to that.
There's so many things to unwrap here. Okay, first of all, you're right, Giselle. I usually love the drama, but for right now, it's toxic. It is toxic. We have reached toxic levels. Like, I didn't know if we would actually get there last week off of basically your observation of the Instagram stuff, right? Okay, cool. That's what happened. But this could have been squashed so much earlier, but it has not. It has not been. And there's only one guy that can kind of squash that. And we're not saying that Kyler needs to come out and defend himself. We have never said that.
No.
It is kind of odd right now that everybody and their mama has finally chimed in on this, except for Kyler. The Cardinals even put out a statement talking about that, and we'll get to that, I'm sure, here in a second. But
yeah,
Johnny, let's just say, people out there in America, in Arizona, all our loved ones here on PHNX Cardinals, because it is Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Johnny and I have a working relationship. We're good friends now, obviously, but if he ever had a problem and I was the GM, or if I saw some shit that he had posted and he was like, or didn't post, I should say, and he just stripped his social of all of this stuff, I would reach out and I'd be like, dude, what's up? What's going on? Let's have a chat. Are you unhappy? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, this is no different than anybody else. Like, it's just funny that everybody's like, they're trying to defend Kyler, and the defense is usually, well, he could do whatever he wants to do. It's his off season. It's his time. You're right. But when something comes across as toxic as this, if you truly don't mean it to be, you will come out and defend yourself, or you would at least explain yourself. That's what a normal human reaction would be, in my estimation. If I put something out there on Twitter and somebody took it a different way, I might feel like, whoa, no, that's not my intent at all. You know, I'm just cleaning up the gram, baby. That's all I'm doing.
Baby.
That's all he had to do. All he had to do was tweet, I'm just cleaning up my gram, baby. And this would be over.
Now, they're into it. He's into it. By the way, he's tweeted out since today's begun, or maybe it was last night, in support of, congratulating Pure Class, by the way, Matthew Stafford, his
Mm-hmm.
in-division rival. He turned off his comments. So I guess, he doesn't want to see the comments from people. I also heard a hot take that he is congratulating Matthew Stafford because he believes he is going to take the same route Stafford did, leaving Detroit by the wayside and get into another franchise. That is the hottest take I heard today. Maybe one of many.
I'm not reading the tea leaves on that one.
I don't think so. I'm not.
Listen,
I'm not ready to go.
The Lions have never even been to a Super Bowl. At least the Cardinals have been to a Super Bowl, and they've gone to the NFC Championship multiple times. Like,
yes,
I'm not like one thing I told you, Johnny, about what I was not going to do about this is I'm not going to respond to hearsay about how people think that, even Chris Mortensen tweeting that out about disgruntled and blah, blah, blah. Like, if you're going to drop a bomb like this, you better give names. You got to. And the only other thing I will say right now is it is a little concerning that teammates haven't exactly come out to defend Kyler Murray right now.
That's a good point.
Like, I'm sorry, but like Johnny, last week when you were getting buried on social media because people were blaming you for making this a national story, I literally defended you on social media. Like, because I was like, no, that's bullshit. Like, he has nothing to do with this. He made an observation. He put it out there. And now everybody else is breaking this to something crazy. And now it has reached toxic levels. So
it has. It is officially toxic. People who are thinking that it is media off-season narrative driving a non-story, which is what we got a lot last week. I got a lot last week. There are more layers to this. When Chris Mortensen, again, who is about as established as you can get in the NFL landscape, his sources, and I put this on Twitter today, Saul, his source is not going to be Joe Blow scouting guy with the Cardinals that's making, $70K a year. Here are his sources: Michael Bidwell, Steve Keim, maybe Cliff Kingsbury, but I don't know how that would benefit Cliff Kingsbury. Maybe somebody like a JJ Watt, a high profile player. Those are who he's going to be able to put his name on a tweet like that. So at the end of the day, if I had to guess, I would imagine it was either joint Keim and Bidwell, Keim alone, probably saying like, we're dealing with some of this stuff that's going on. We would prefer it not happen and him grow as a leader. What we're trying isn't working. So let's bomb it on the outside and see if he can get pushed over the edge based on public perception. I'm not saying that's the right way to go about it. Stephen A. certainly didn't think so. I believe that it was Keim who put it out there to Mort in so many words, like, Kyler needs to grow the hell up.
I mean, hey, listen, I can appreciate that, but at the same time, there's got to be a high road by somebody, and typically it should be the organization, because otherwise,
you would think,
what are you telling to other players? You know what I mean? When I don't like your vibe, I'm going to put that shit out there on social. Like, whoa, no. Like, you can't do this. You can't do that. And so it's to that regard, I absolutely am on Kyler's side. Like, really?
Yeah.
You're gonna what's Kyler supposed to say right now, right? Like what's Kyler's defense? If that comes out on that side, right? What if Kyler came back?
Trade me is what he would say.
Well, not only that, but what if Kyler was like, oh, okay, you don't want to take the high road? Okay, well, then I won't take the high road either. How about this? How about this? How about this? Like, you don't want to go down that road, because I promise you it will not turn up good for you.
That's the Tyrann Mathieu road on Twitter.
Well, yeah. And so both entities, Kyler and the organization, just need to calm the fuck down. They need to calm down, let things calm down. Don't put out any statements. Don't think that you're taking the high road.
Can we talk about the Cardinal statement real quick? Because it was so bullshit, cliche, team speak. They literally leaked it to Chris Mortensen. Mortensen releases this. So then the Cardinals have to turn around and put out the following statement. They say, and the Pro Football Talk, I want to credit them. They got this initially. Nothing has changed regarding our opinion and high regard for Kyler Murray. We as a team and Kyler individually have improved each year he's been in the league. This is a continuation. We're excited to continue that improvement in 2022 and are excited that Kyler Murray is the quarterback leading us. So they felt like this was going south in a big way, and they had to put that out. And to your point, teammates haven't responded. Murray himself hasn't responded. That's embarrassing for them multiple hours before the Super Bowl kickoff in the midst of this story dominated Super Bowl week outside of the two teams that were playing. Hands down, the biggest non-Super Bowl story all week. And all it does is it makes it a bad look for the organization that, number one, they're leaking their press, their dirty laundry to the press because they can't get through if they had any goal, Michael Bidwill would say, okay, Kyler's not the leader we need right now. Who is going to get him there? Because clearly the people who are in charge right now, not me, I'm the owner, I'm not going anywhere. What moves do I need to make sure he's surrounded by the kind of people that, and I use this example on Twitter, Ben Roethlisberger was immature as hell when he came to the NFL, but he had the right leaders, the right veterans, the right coaching staff between Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin, an infrastructure so they could compete for championships despite his off-the-field stuff, which is way more extreme than anything Kyler's done. But I think, speaking immaturity in the locker room, they changed it up. The Cardinals don't have the balls to do that. They don't have the balls to say, at the end of the year, Cliff, we love you. You got us to this point. We need a different voice for Kyler because the franchise is his now. And then Steve Keim, instead of leaking this to the press, let's promote from within. Let's bring in an outside voice. Let's give some credibility, because I think what a lot of Cardinal fans are feeling, Saul, is yes, Kyler's in the wrong, but he is pushing this organization to wanting to get to greater heights, and feels like maybe there's a little bit of status quo. Like they're not used to winning at the level he's won to in the past. Like everybody step your game up. Now that's rich to say because of the playoff performance. That's how I feel.
This is my interpretation of Kyler, is that he's an introvert, and introverts by nature. Like I'm an introvert. Like I was an introvert, when I was in high school, right? I was an introvert. I didn't really like to talk too much outside of my circle. And when I got onto the court and I got loud and I pointed fingers and stuff like that, guys did not respond well to me at all. Like they did not like the fact that I was calling them out or telling them to do, like, guys, I want to win a state championship. This is what this is all about, right? But because I'm not an extrovert and I'm not the life of the party and I don't talk all the time, like it was out of left field for them, right? Yeah. I feel like the same thing is kind of happening with Kyler. Now, actions speak louder than words. Mm-hmm. If he comes through, if this crazy stuff about him wearing headphones in the locker room at halftime or calling his girlfriend, like if that was true, that's like, I just can't imagine I can't imagine JJ Watt sitting there staring at him and being like, oh, that's okay. Like, I just could not imagine that. I don't believe that story. I don't believe that for a second. The other thing is like, you have to be able to manage yourself, and you can't manage toxicity with toxicity. And if you think Kyler's being toxic, Cardinals, it's not your job to one-up them. Now, I feel like their Instagram, when they deleted everything except for 2 photos, was a straight troll job. It's a straight troll job. Like, what are you doing? Yes. Oh my gosh. Right.
It was to kind of nudge him in the ribs a little bit. Like, look how stupid this is, Kyler. We're going to play along with it. And oh, by the way, I love JJ Watt. The video he put out there kind of mocking the media coverage of all this. Then 48 hours later, 24 hours later, Mort basically confirming that Kyler is upset with the organization. That's not a good look. Like, clearly Kyler is pissed off. He is pissed off because he feels like he's the scapegoat. So whether or not you want to believe that the social scrub or whatever is in regard to that or not, it's clear, like, we have come to a head with this situation. And to your point, somebody's got to speak on it now. Whether it's Keim's got to speak in 2 weeks at the Combine. We will be there, and he will be asked about this. So I'm sure between the next 2 weeks, he would like to get in front of his quarterback to be able to avoid that shitstorm, because it's going to be one of the biggest stories in Indianapolis if it's not resolved by then.
1,000,000%. And oh man, listen, we've seen quarterbacks be disgruntled with their organization before. We've even seen Cardinals be disgruntled with the organization before. Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu. Some of them make it through it. Some of them don't.
No.
And it's up to the organization. Listen, we have pounded this to a pulp. Quarterbacks do not grow on trees.
No.
If you think that John Skelton's walking through that door. I promise you he is if you let Kyler Murray go. Like, that's the type of quarterback.
I didn't know where you're going with that.
That's the type of quarterback that will come through that door and lead this team. And I like John Skelton. No offense, buddy.
Good guy.
He will lead this team to 3-13 again next year. Like,
can we just
don't want those problems? I promise you.
Can you and I officially just go on the record as saying, or at least I'm going to go on the record right now, that I believe they should do everything in their power to make it work with Kyler Murray? I am not on team Cardinals, passive aggressive nonsense. Like, he's 24. Is it a great look? No, you have to make it work with him 100%. What the fuck are you doing if he's not your quarterback next year? You are screwed. In the NFC West that now has the Super Bowl champion Rams, and Russell Wilson hasn't left yet, and the Niners are a juggernaut waiting to happen if Trey Lance hits, you will go into irrelevance. And I think Murray knows that. So if you're Michael Bidwell, the only young franchise homegrown player at the quarterback position you've ever had, and you're about to blow it because you're siding with your GM who has made so many mistakes, it would be franchise altering, because I can tell you right now, Saul, and this is a small minority because it's Twitter and Twitter is not real life. We know 90% of the fans on Twitter side with Kyler Murray. Yeah. They have been scorned by this organization, and they believe that it's worth salvaging, back up Kyler, get him the support he needs. That's not to say he's not without flaws, but I hope Michael Bidwell has a grasp of what it would be like. Let's just say shipped him to Minnesota for Cousins and like a first or something like that. You would be destroyed as an organization.
It's so funny that you say 90% because that's not the vibe I get. I definitely don't get 90% on K1's side. Okay. I will say that there are definitely individuals out there that are absolutely slighted against Kyler. Like, they just don't like him for whatever reason. I see it like hundreds of times a day. Like, people just... And they pull some of the stupidest shit out of their ass to go against Kyler that I'm like, dude, that doesn't even matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. But there's some validity to some of the other things that they bring up, and you have to, like, for instance, the whole Colt McCoy at the end of the Rams game thing, where Kyler.
Yeah, hang on. Before you get to that, real quick, because I got a graphic on that. And that's our next topic of discussion. If you don't know where we're going with that, keep it locked in real quick.
Okay.
Hoops fans, the latest offer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is too good to pass up. I'm talking between the legs, 360 windmill good. New customers can bet just $1 on any team and get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on NBA with same-game parlays. You can combine multiple bets from the same game for an even bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings safe, secure, reliable. Again, PHNX is the promo code to use. Bet just $1 on any NBA team. We are in full-fledged NBA season. Go bet on the Suns. $150 in free bets. 21 and over. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEPS. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for more details. So what Saul was referring to, and again, I want to make sure I have all my facts straight here. There is a video out. Some of you may have seen it. Some of you have not. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo, who is, again, very legitimate reporter in the NFL landscape, employed by the NFL Network, stated yesterday in a live video, and I retweeted it on our Twitter feed, that during the Rams playoff game, Kyler Murray took himself out of the game with about a minute left. Didn't say if he was injured. I'm going to assume he wasn't injured because I saw him a little while later at the press conference. He looked okay. He got beat up during the game, but willingly took himself out of the game. The game was a blowout, as we all know. Colt McCoy, among other Cardinal players, tried to convince Kyler to stay, but Murray was, quote, done for the day. He took himself out, Saul. What is your reaction to that?
My reaction is you just can't do that.
No,
you just can't do that. Like, listen, if it's before the drive, and I don't know, was it before the drive or
they had another possession coming up? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I really care that much. I don't know if I really care that much. Like, I know Colt McCoy's like, hey, in the optics, you need to stay on the field. You got to go down with your quote unquote soldiers on the field. Like,
Yeah.
I get that, but at the same time, like, is that going to be a major sticking point? No, I think that's a learning moment. I think that's a learning moment. I think Colt McCoy probably says in the locker room or afterwards, like, when listen, tensions are high in that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm Kyler, I'm probably hot. Like, we just got embarrassed on national TV in our first playoff game in my history. And I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I just don't want to. Hell, I didn't want to be in there, and I was watching the game from the stands. Like,
we were ready to go at halftime. It was so bad.
Oh man, it was awful. But you got to take it. You got to take it because that's leadership, right? But again, we're talking about a 24-year-old that had never lost in high school, barely lost it all in college. He gets here and gets his shit kicked in, but he's learning and he's a dynamic player. And you think the future's there, and he hits what he thinks is a bump in the road, but it's not as big a bump in the road as maybe we are all making it out to be. They lost in round one. It was embarrassing, but he's going to have plenty of more chances because he's the quarterback and he can control that to a degree. So he just has a lot to learn. I will say this. Kyler Murray is immature. He is immature. I don't think that there's a debate on that. But the level of his immaturity, I feel like, could be curbed if they have more mature and more sound leadership around him as well. And I think on the offensive side of the ball, Cliff Kingsbury, that's where I would look to. Cliff and Kyler have the same fucking agent. And they drop a bomb about Cliff going to Oklahoma, and then that doesn't work out. And then now the same agent has a complete bomb dropped right here on the other side. Bro, what are you doing? Like,
here's the bomb right here. Kyler Murray, this is fine.
Oh my God.
And we love Kyler. It was like they were trading jabs over the weekend. Mort report, and then Kyler's upset with the organization, and then Garofalo says he took himself out of the game, and then there's this BS, which we don't believe, by the way. Headphones during halftime. It is the Kyler Murray "this is fine" gift. And then, to your point, Saul, if this was me getting destroyed on social media, I would come out and make a statement. I'd put together something with my PR team. Kyler has a PR team and my agent, a written statement, and either I'd release it in a written form or I'd read it in front of my phone and I'd put it out there. But or I'd schedule something with like Lisa Salters or somebody like that, or the team site. But man, I don't know, man. I feel like, and I'm in the minority here, I don't want this to happen. I am Team Kyler. I feel like we're like one more like unraveling with this, like one more bomb that drops with this from them requesting a trade, meaning Burkhardt and Kyler Murray.
You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that. And the reason why is because I guarantee you can take that graphic down, by the way. I'm good with that. The reason why is because I know for a fact there are teams out there that are calling about Kyler right now. Right. Like, Keim has got his choice if he really wants to execute this. There's still 2 years left on his rookie deal. Teams are salivating at the opportunity to possibly add Kyler Murray to their team. If you're the Cardinals, unless you get absolutely knocked out by a deal, you're never going to do it. You're never going to, because you have full control. The only option
do they have control with the baseball thing? Control.
Well, that's my say. The only control that they don't have is that Kyler either retires or he goes to play baseball. Let him go play fucking baseball. I guarantee you it's not going to end out the way he thinks it's going to work out too. Like, you bat 300 and you're okay. You think Kyler Murray wants to bat 300 and be okay? No, he wants to be the best of the best. He ain't about that life.
Brandon saying 4 firsts and it's a done deal. Brandon, unfortunately, you can only trade 3 first-round picks at one time, which is a stupid rule, by the way.
It's a dumb deal.
There is not a trade, and I put an article, Go PHNX, on Saturday about how moronic it would be for the Cardinals to trade Kyler Murray. This was before all of this. I don't think there is a trade that exists that Cardinal fans could feel, and the fandom could feel good about the return. I could be wrong. I don't think it exists. I don't think a Derek Carr, somebody tweeted out today, which I thought was laughable. Russell Wilson in the division, number one, that would never happen. Number two, Russell Wilson's in his mid-30s, and he's much more expensive, and he got hurt last year. There's no deal. There's no deal.
There's only one there's only one trade scenario that I could legitimately, and it won't happen, but I could legitimately see as a plausible trade that would make both franchises happy. And I don't know if Cardinals fans are going to love this.
Okay.
but I think leadership would love it, is if they traded Kyler for Dak. That's the only thing. Because Dallas would get their hometown kid back.
Yeah.
The Cowboys fans would revere in that because they've seen Dak, they've seen that experiment. The only problem is that now you've just jumped up majorly in salary, and the Cardinals can't afford that. So that would
Dak is unquestionably a better leader. You can argue that he's been a phenomenal leader since he got drafted in the 4th round. I don't think he has the skill set of Kyler Murray. Now he might age better, and he's a better pocket passer right now. But I mean, to me, they're loaded offensively, and Kyler went into Dallas without Hopkins and beat him straight up. And they play in a weak ass division. I don't know how Dak would fare in the NFC West. That's all I'm saying. There's not a scenario. There's not a life raft.
There's one other scenario that to me, I can't help but get around. And to me, it's Cliff. It's Cliff.
Okay.
I can't help but get around that one because I don't know how Cliff is helping his young quarterback adjust to the NFL.
Not helping him enough.
I don't know if I can see a road ahead with him. I feel like I truly feel like we're kind of in a dead man walking kind of situation right now.
I agree with that. And I think that if they put off moving off of Cliff and Keim or both until next year, when you go 7-10, not only are you looking at firing both of them, I believe you fire both of them next offseason and you're Michael Bidwell. How can you go to Kyler Murray and say, but I'm going to re-sign you and we'll get this. Well, don't worry about this, Kyler. We'll take care of it. We'll figure this out.
The reason why there is a path. There's always a path. Devin Booker played for the worst franchise for about a 3-year period and got an extension. They fired their coach. They hired another coach right after he got the extension. Igor Kokoshkov comes in. They win 19 games. They fire him. And who do they bring in? They bring in Monty Williams. Everything starts to change. They
stop bragging about your sons. We're over here in the slums. We're slumming it right now.
I'm just saying it could happen if they have a disastrous year. They let those guys go and they bring in a legitimate head coach.
Oh, Giselle in the chat. All right, I'm reading it. I'm going to read it. All right, here we go. Ready? All right. I play this game for the love of it. This is on his Twitter. My teammates, everyone who has helped me get to this position, that believed in me, and to win championships. All of this nonsense is not what I'm about, never has been, never will be. Anyone who has ever stepped between those lines with me knows how hard I go. Love me or hate me, but I'm going to continue to grow and get better. No mention of the Cardinals, by the way, in that. You like that statement.
I don't fucking care, Johnny. He doesn't have to kiss the ring of anybody. Listen, we asked for him to make a statement, or we hoped he would.
For making that during our show, by the way.
Hey, what did we just see here? We just saw growth. This is growth.
That's right.
He made a statement. He said, hey, I play hard. I love this game. I love my teammates, and I grind. I don't care. From this point forward, I don't care. Good job, Kyler. Growth.
Thank you again for tweeting that out. My wife just texting me, I'm here for Russell Wilson.
No.
I can't agree with that.
No.
She just wants the Sierra factor. Okay, so let's dissect this statement here.
Wait.
Quickly.
You said he didn't mention the Cardinals, but what photo did he attach with that tweet?
Him in a Cardinal jersey.
Oh, yes, sir. Let's go, Johnny. Get on board. Get on the train.
I love Kyler. I don't want him to leave. They're terrible when he's gone. No, people are like anti-Kyler. No, come on now. All right. So first of all, I wanted, again, toot. I said he'd have to make a statement. He'd have to make a statement because this shit with the locker room nonsense. He put it in there. He's like, all this nonsense. I'm just about winning and championships. I also believe if you're Kyler Murray now, you're hedging your bet of, okay, like the Cardinals can screw around and make themselves look bad, but I'm telling the fans right now, I love my teammates and I want to win championships. And if you're a fan of this organization, That's all you want to hear. Now, I would love to hear I'm committed to the Cardinals and bringing them their first Super Bowl trophy, but that's just me. I would love that, but that's just me being particular. And I also think that is a contract ploy. Can't we just wake up tomorrow and have Kyler Murray sign an extension with this organization so we don't have to worry about it?
It'd be really even funnier if somebody mentioned this and said, I thought he was going to say all this has been over new uniforms. Which would have been funny, to be honest.
So Espo disagrees with you, by the way. He says that's not growth. That's backing down because the opposite have turned horrible. Espo, I agree with you. I think he had to say something.
You know what it is? It's because people have started throwing outlandish things and have forums to say stupid shit all over the country that have no idea what's really going on. Like, Johnny, you never said anything stupid. You just said what the observation was. Like, there's like this whole locker room thing. Like, where did that come from? Who'd you hear that from? And would they ever go on the record? No, they wouldn't. Like, come on, man. I'm not even trying to hear that.
Now, the stuff from Mike Garafalo, I can't even say his name.
I always want to say Garafalo.
Garafalo, let's just call him that. Mike Garafalo of NFL Network, Mike Giraffe, he said that he took himself out of the game. You know, Kyler Murray heard that. And I do believe that happened. I don't think that now it might not have gone down exactly like that, where Kyle's like, I'm done. Forget this team. You know, it probably was not as
like
dramatic.
Colt was pulling his arm and he was like,
Kyler, get in there and be a leader.
Let me live. No,
yeah.
I don't think that's
I think, God, pretty crazy. He released a statement. To get to some of these comments here. When Book says it, we believe it. Kyler, not so much. I think Devin Booker is the unquestioned king of the Valley. Unquestioned right now.
Yeah, now that Fitz is gone for sure.
And will continue to carry that baton. Can you imagine if Devin Booker and the Suns win a championship this year and just the immortality he will have as a Phoenix legend? And Kyler Murray will
the city will burn down if that happens. I promise you that. Hey, Charles Barkley once said when they were in Chicago and they won a game 5 to send it back to Arizona, he's like, take that shit off the windows because they had boarded up the city. You're going to have to put that shit back on the windows here. I promise you that.
Correct. Tyler says, fire Keim, promote A-Dub. Keim is clearly leaking to the media and shouldn't be tolerated with Michael Bidwell. The unfortunate thing is Tyler is like, Michael Bidwell might have known about it and was okay with it, which is not how you operated in this organization. I'm not saying yes or no. I do think there is a lot of chatter right now about, like, could you fire Keim and Cliff and go out and get, like, Eric Bieniemy, by the way, is going to talk with Chiefs ownership soon about, like, his position with the franchise, because I think there is a belief that he is not getting a potential head coaching job because he's connected to Andy Reid, and how much does he do and how much does he not do? Like, could you go out and interview Eric Bieniemy right away and promote A-Dub? I think people could really get behind that. That's something I could get behind as like a saving grace to the offseason. I don't think it's too late to fire both of them, especially Keim, because you can get rid of a GM and be fine this early in the offseason. Cliff's a little different because what kind of staff could you get somebody like Bieniemy to bring on at this point? I don't know.
You know, Keim is difficult because on paper, he put the Cardinals in the best position possible to win a championship. He made a lot of great moves. It's hard to get after Keim for how the season ended versus where it started when you were completely healthy, right? They were the best team in the NFL for half the season.
Not even close.
And so injuries started to take its toll. D-Hop was a big thing. J.J. Watt was a big one. Like, that had a huge impact. So I can't completely crap all over Keim. I know a lot of people want to get rid of him, but I can't do that. With Cliff, however, I just don't see the growth from year to year that I want to see. I feel like Kyler has grown a little bit. He's had some more tools at his disposal, which had made Cliff's schemes more executable, but still not to a level where you would like to see, especially after seeing what we just saw the last couple of weeks. You know, like, hell, the Cincinnati Bengals defense was not the greatest in the world, but damn it, if in the playoffs they didn't put it all together and absolutely
coaching staff
elevated.
Out.
Yeah,
I want to get to this comment here from Cardinals Update because I've heard this a lot. I think Kyler Murray likes Cliff Kingsbury as his coach because I think Cliff is an enabler in a lot of ways. Yeah. Sometimes what you need is not what you want. And
Yes.
I would let him to be a thought partner if and when they were to fire Cliff Kingsbury. But like, he needs somebody to ride his ass and get him to the next level as a professional football player and leader of this organization. That can't be your buddy.
Our guy Espo tweeted or texted me a photo yesterday of a couple quotes from Sean McVay out of the Super Bowl press conference yesterday post game.
Okay.
And one of his quotes, Sean McVay's quotes, is "Be demanding but never demeaning." Mm-hmm. And I think Cliff has a tough time with being demanding without. Well, and I don't think he's demeaning Kyler at all. So that's kind of irrelevant. But there's a fine line, like hell in our company, there's sometimes I have to give people bad news, or I have to tell them that something is just not where it's supposed to be or how it's supposed to be. Right. I don't enjoy doing it, but there's a certain level that you have to reach in order to be to reach some of the heights that we want to go. Right. So you have to continue to demand and make sure you're putting people in the right positions to succeed. And I don't know if Cliff has that ability to get out of his own head and his own feels with Kyler to put him in those correct positions in order for the entire team to succeed. I just don't know if he does.
I've never seen it. We've been in practices, and it just if it's on display, we don't see it, especially with Kyler Murray. For those of you who are just joining us, and we have it now thanks to producer Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. Kyler Murray's statement on the Arizona Cardinals, on his football career and really what's being, attacked right now. This came via his Twitter account just a few moments ago. I play this game for the love of it. My teammates, everyone who has helped me get to this position, that believed in me and to win championships. All of this is nonsense. Is not what I've been about. Never has been, never will be. Anyone who has ever stepped between those lines will with me knows how hard I go. Love me or hate me, but I'm going to continue to grow and get better. Kyler Murray. Saul's riding with Kyler Murray.
Don't forget about that part.
That looked like hook 'em.
You know what that means?
Hook 'em horns.
No, that's not hook 'em. That's I love you in sign language.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So, it's nothing but love for Kyler. He's listen, again, you got to start somewhere. And sometimes, you do certain things because maybe you're in your own feels or in your own head, and things kind of get a little bit away from you. I have no doubt that Kyler was in some type of mood when he deleted everything off the Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Or scrubbed everything off his Instagram. And now he's kind of seeing the error of his ways. But at the same time, is he? I don't know.
I don't know if he is. I don't know
if you want this thing to completely burn to the ground, then you don't ever put out a statement. You don't ever put out a statement. But he doesn't want people to view him like that. And listen, a lot can go his way if he just performs a little bit better in the playoffs. If he can rebound next year and get this team back to the playoffs, perform a little bit better, even if he would have just played a little bit better in that game against the Rams, we're probably not talking about all this. But it was such a disastrous end to the season, the way they compared to where they started, that it's hard for people to turn their head and say, well, it's just growth. It's not. It's a little bit more than that.
I agree with that. A lot of good comments here from Christy. Kyler has growing up to do, but this organization has issues at the top. Bingo. It always starts at the top. No one can tell me different. I agree with that. And I put it out there on Twitter yesterday. Like, if he goes to the Packers, the Patriots, historically stable franchises,
but you can't say that about the Packers. They legitimately were just in this shithole last year, all fucking offseason with the fucking Rodgers. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, late in his career. This is early. Can we win something first? I don't care if Kyler melts down in 10 years after we've won a Super Bowl and have 10 years of relevancy.
But you can't say the Packers are squeaky clean after they just had a rough offseason themselves last year. Fine.
Who give me the example of an organization? Kansas City now, Buffalo. I don't know. The Packers are always winners, so I had to put that out there.
There's no perfect organization. They all have. Everybody looked at Seattle 7-8 years ago like, oh, this is the epitome of an organization. Now people are trying to shit all over the Seahawks and get rid of Pete Carroll.
I want to win, though. Can we just win? Usually all this shit comes after you win and people are upset. You've got big egos and vanity. Can we at least experience like 3 to 5 years of dominance and then have the shit hit the fan afterwards. That's what I want. We have not deserved. I don't think we deserve this yet. This is not supposed to happen like this. Not yet.
Yeah.
All right. I got to do another read, and then we got something else we want to talk about. So again, if you have not checked out our PHNX merchandise locker at phnxlocker.com, go and pick up a shirt today, $29.99, or become a member, gophnx.com, 50 cents for the first month, $8.99 for the subsequent months, or you can just pay just under $60. You get a free t-shirt. You get all of our good stuff at gophnx.com. The fabulous work of myself and our many talented writers there. We're kicking it into high gear in NFL offseason, which means exclusive pieces. Our NBA content is out of control right now with my guy Gerald, who's been on the road with the Phoenix Suns, monitoring, forecasting the trade deadline that came and went, the Suns enjoying a special season. You can enjoy all that and more at gophnx.com. All right, I want to get to a couple more of these quotes here. He had no chance against the Rams, says Jalen. When the rushed 5 and got those one-on-ones, the Ram D-line, 8R O-line alive. Yep. I mean, argue the same thing happened to Joe Burrow yesterday. Rodgers can do it all that Kyler ain't on his level. I would agree with that. True. I would say Rodgers has earned probably a lot of what's going on. Plus, the Cardinals didn't draft Rodgers' heir apparent, which is where a lot of this nonsense came from. And Rodgers puts back-to-back MVP level seasons and is always healthy. Steelers are the only ones I can think of that can take a big personality and just be quiet. I would also say New England in that regard as well. He pouts, says easy. He sucked in the playoffs, just like he pouts on the sidelines. I think it's a real thing with the body language. I think that bothers everybody. And if you say it doesn't bother you, I do not believe you. You want a leader like a Russell Wilson so teammates can gravitate toward that. And Murray's not like that. So it's like, okay, do you wait for him to mature? Can an introvert like that play quarterback? I've said for 2 years, he's got a little Jay Cutler in him. And now Mike Sando, if the Athletic's saying that people internally and externally are comparing him to Jay Cutler. Now, I think he's much more talented, and hopefully the Cardinals do a hell of a lot more winning than Jay Cutler ever did. But Jay Cutler is the last quarterback I can remember who is an introvert like this. People want to compare Kyler to Cam. Cam, to me, is much more of an emotional personality that teammates gravitate toward when push comes to shove. Kyler doesn't have that yet. I do think there are some similarities to Jay Cutler.
There's a lot you just said there. First, Cam. The reason why dudes vibe with Cam is because Cam will lower his shoulder and run somebody over too. And that means a lot on the football field. The fact that you're going to go toe to toe with a linebacker or safety, whoever, and not shy away from that. And Cam has paid the price, and guys see that too. Cam has absolutely paid the price physically, and his skills have deteriorated. Yeah. Kyler can't do that because if he does that one time, it might be the end of his career, right? Because he's such a small guy. So it's a little bit of a different vibe there. I will also say this. We have seen plenty of times in sports. However, I can't think of the quarterback position, which is a little bit different. But we have seen guys in sports that you just are like, I don't understand this person whatsoever, but on the field or on the court, they get it done all the time. The first one I can think of is Kawhi Leonard. He's just such an introvert. He doesn't want to talk to anybody, but he's one of the best basketball players in the country. So with football, I can't think of a quarterback that's quite like that because usually quarterback is an extrovert position. It just is. And so I can't think of. Yeah, but you know what? Kyler could be the first of his kind where he's just a different cat. It sounds like I'm making excuses for Kyler. I'm really not trying to make excuses for Kyler. It's just hard when people see, like some people have a resting bitch face, right?
Yeah.
And
I don't think he's got an RBF. I don't think he's got an RBF.
But some people are just like, I'm chilling, I'm vibing. I used to get shit on because I would go to parties and I would just sit there and just drink a beer in the corner because that's just my vibe and I liked it. Yeah. And people were like, "Oh, why don't you join the party? We're all over here. You're always so quiet. Are you pissed? Are you mad?" I'm like, "No, I just want you to leave me the fuck alone." That's just how I was.
All right, I got a tweet. Our Bird Gang Travel Tyler just sent us a quote from Ashley Nicole Moss. She's an on-air host for SI, seemingly backing up Kyler Murray. So here's her quote. Spoke to a few of Kyler's teammates at Radio Row, including Hopkins, which we saw, and they all spoke very highly of him. I don't expect anybody to trash Kyler Murray on Radio Row, by the way, so I don't buy too much into that. The sentiments were all the same. A healthy Cardinals team and Murray equals Super Bowl. And then at the bottom, and this is subtweeting Mort's tweet from yesterday, she says, very odd report and contradictory to the vibes of a handful of this teammate. Number one, I don't believe the comments about finger pointing and self-centered and immature came from teammates. I think that came from Steve Keim and Cardinal brass, Cardinal leadership. Also, again, no one is going on Radio Row to do media and ripping Kyler Murray when they share the same locker room with him publicly. So while I can appreciate her tweet, there's nothing to that. I don't believe there's anything to that.
Well, listen, man. Like again, I'm gonna sound like a Kyler apologist, but on Radio Row, like we all know, like sometimes we get these guys off the field, we talk to them on the side, whether we're doing an interview or it's off camera and we're just kind of, maybe we're just chatting, whatever. There's a certain vibe that you get, and I don't think she goes out there and says that unless she absolutely felt like, wait, I think that this guy's getting railroaded for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's conversations that you have on the show, then there's conversations that you have off the show. And I think off the record is what you truly get. And I don't know if anybody really backs somebody if they really know that they're a piece of crap. And I don't think that his teammates feel like that. But again, I don't know. I have no idea.
And Cardinal update, I'm not dismissing her tweet. I believe that she was vibing with people on Radio Row that play for the Cardinals and they like Kyler Murray. I don't think that, first of all, it's a good look that his teammates are, we started the show off today by a little bit of concern that a lot of his teammates were backing him. Well, that's not the case now. Nobody's taken to Twitter or anything. Maybe they haven't felt like they had to. We've been consistent in the messaging, or at least I have, that I believe the report from Mortensen came from Cardinal leadership. Meaning executives, GMs, owners, potentially, not like a DeAndre Hopkins or a Budda Baker. I don't think that that's the case. And I feel like, again, it's a dog pile on Murray right now. And so you've got it's nice to see people that come to his defense. Saul and I are two of those people, by the way, and would believe it would be a disastrous turn of events if the Cardinals were to ever part with him. And I do not think this organization would recover for many years. All right, quickly. Our next partner has a product I literally use every day, Athletic Greens. It's fantastic. If you haven't heard of it, with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, all that good stuff to start your day. Athletic Greens, it's a no-brainer. It supports better sleep quality and recovery. It's got over 7,000 five-star reviews. It costs just less than $3 a day, so make it easy. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Cardinals. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Cardinals to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And quickly here, the COVID vaccine is the best tool we have to reduce the chances of getting sick with COVID. To fight, children 5 and older are eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccine can reduce the risk of being hospitalized or dying from the disease. It's safe, free, and highly effective, and the vaccines are available throughout Arizona. Visit azhealth.gov/find vaccine for the location nearest to you. Okay, so we have one more segment we wanted to touch on with all of you, and it relates to Cardinal owner Michael Bidwell. And he was speaking on behalf of Super Bowl 57, which, by the way, is here in Arizona next year. And if you didn't know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosted a Super Bowl. They won it. The LA Rams hosted a Super Bowl last night. They won it. Are the Cardinals set for a three-peat? Let's hear from Bidwell.
Our high, we look forward to meeting that challenge. Since the last time we hosted a Super Bowl in 2015, we've put over $150 million worth of upgrades and renovations to get the stadium, State Farm Stadium, ready to go for Super Bowl 57. And we're also investing in the community. The community's doing a lot of things to prepare ourselves. We couldn't be more excited about this. Last time around, it was a $720 million economic impact on the Valley and the state of Arizona, and we look forward to having an equally large economic impact this time around. And I look forward to trying to keep that streak going that Tampa set, and now Los Angeles is set, and hopefully Arizona can do the same thing next year. Our high.
You know how he can't do that? Trading away Kyler Murray, because then you want to talk about hosting the Super Bowl to hosting the first overall pick in the 2023 draft, because that would be the end result. But in all seriousness, so what do you make of Bidwell's comments? And then also, like, how the hell do the Cardinals even get to that point? Because right now they've got maybe like top 12 odds to win the Super Bowl next year, 22-1, with two teams in their division. San Francisco and the LA Rams ranked ahead of them in those rankings. How do the Cardinals get there?
Yeah, they're actually in the lower 25% of odds to make it to the Super Bowl, plus 2,500 on DraftKings. You can bet that today if you want to. I just listen. I don't look into those numbers as a predictor of what's going to happen, because I think they're atrocious. Nobody would have predicted that the Cardinals would have the season that they had, or the start that they had at 10-2. Nobody, not one person out there in America, guessed that would ever happen. So I don't really care about that. What I do care about is shoring up some of the inefficient play across the defensive and offensive line. That's what I care about. Listen, Kyler Murray is what he is. He's a short quarterback, and a very mobile short quarterback. You need to keep that pocket as clean as possible for him to be able to execute at a higher level than you want him to, or that he has currently shown. I do believe Kyler Murray has MVP type ability. I just need more solid offensive line play. And on the defensive line, you got to be able to stop the run, and you got to get consistent pressure on the quarterback. That's something that we didn't get too much of last year. The numbers say there was a lot of quarterback pressures, but it just looked like quarterbacks were just far too comfortable in the pocket for my liking last year. I want to see a little bit of a change there. I think if they shore up those two things, they could very well see themselves in Super Bowl 57.
Wow. Teddy Jennings, Cardinals better get it right if the USFL expands. Here, they'll lose a fan base. I would agree with that. I'm with you. I want to throw up every time I see a mock draft and the Cardinals.
You would agree with that?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
USFL expanded here.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with
to PHNX Wranglers or some dumb shit. Like, come on, man.
Hell yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you. I thought Teddy's comment was funny. I'm agreeing with you to build the offensive and defensive line. If I see one more mock draft having the Cardinals take a corner in a passing league, I'm going to throw up. Name a Bengals corner. They're starting Eli Apple last night, but they had a dominant defensive line. To me, it comes down to, I believe Kyler Murray to win right now has to be able to use his legs a little bit, and he couldn't do that at the end of the year because the offensive line could get no push. If the Cardinals want to improve their chances of being a true contender through 18 weeks of the season, they have to be able to maul people on both lines of scrimmage. I would put a big caveat on all of that to say, we talked about it last night at your house, Saul, Saul had a Super Bowl party. It was fun. If the Cardinals can get a premier pass catcher for Kyler Murray, that is the one trump card, assuming that there's not a better offensive or defensive line talent there. What I've seen, and again, you're not getting Jamar Chase at 23. I'm not crazy like that. But Justin Jefferson, once upon a time, went in the early 20s. If they feel like there is somebody to pair with Hopkins that is an alpha outside X or Y receiver, that is my trump card for offensive and defensive line. Protect your quarterback, get after theirs, and now the NFL. We saw it last night. The Rams had like 41 rushing yards on 20 carries with a bunch of replacement backs, and Cam Akers went in the third round. That's why I'm not paying big money to either running back for the Cardinals. If they want to come back, that's fine. I love James Conner. I'm not taking a running back at 23. If there is a skilled pass-catching receiver that somehow falls, CeeDee Lamb once upon a time fell to 17, go and get him and help your quarterback with a big physical target. I love Christian Kirk. I believe he's leaving in March as a free agent. Undersized. Rondale Moore, undersized. Get him some help. Get him some size. Somebody to target in the passing game to move the chains. He made it work with A.J. Green. A lot of people thought A.J. Green was just a walking corpse before the year, and I believe Kyler Murray got the best out of A.J. Green. Now it's time to upgrade. Get somebody in their early 20s that can grow with Kyler, because as much as I love D-Hop, Saul, he's getting older.
Yeah, listen, I'm kind of done with the sub 6 foot receiver.
I am too.
It's almost like I'm trying to think. It's like Muggsy Bogues trying to throw a pass over Shaq to Muggsy Bogues. Like, you got to stop with the short receivers because it just ain't clicking. And again, schematically, we got to forget that. We got to forget these dink and dunks to try and get the ball into playmakers' hands when they just clearly are not working. You don't have dudes on the outside that are like strong, aggressive blocking receivers to really make that happen on a consistent basis. I like Antoine Wesley. Ryan just said that. I love Antoine Wesley. I say you got to continue to develop him because he's much like T. Higgins on the other side of Jamar Chase. And if you can develop him to that level, you've got a diamond in the rough right there. And he's been through this program, so he understands it. I like the receiver position. I do. But again, you just need some dogs up front to be able to, you got to be a more physical team. They were a physical team at the beginning of the season, and then somehow, some way just kind of fell apart and lost their identity. You need to have that nice balance, and Kyler Murray using his athleticism to be part of that balance is also something that they need to do. So listen, there's just a lot of things to fix that you didn't really feel like needed to be fixed at the beginning of the season, but all of a sudden things kind of reared their ugly head. Teams adjusted, and the Cardinals didn't adjust back. They got to figure out what went wrong, how to fix it, and we'll see if it happens.
Cardinal update asking, what would it take to get CD from Dallas? I would pay whatever. Well, I'm not sure you could get him with whatever it took. They're rumored to be Dallas moving on from Amari Cooper, who's due over $20 million. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. But that tells you CeeDee Lamb, who averaged over 1,000 yards each of his first 2 NFL seasons, is going to be their premier go-to offensive weapon, especially with Michael Gallup hitting free agency and also injured. So Cardinals blew that opportunity. We've talked about that before. If they wanted CeeDee Lamb, they should have taken him at pick 8. I love Isaiah Simmons, but to me, that was the move, or pick 7 or wherever they picked, to pair him with Kyler Murray, because I think some of this nonsense is going off the field. If he had his boy CD in here, I think it would be much easier. Cardinals didn't want to make that happen.
If you're going to go receiver, the one I would look to is Christian Watson, wide receiver out of North Dakota State. Tall guy, runs really good routes. Not the fastest kid, but he'll still run a 4.4 probably at the combine, maybe 4.5. So it's not slow by any stretch. And you could probably get him in 2nd or 3rd round.
Speaking of the combine, we will be there in T-2 weeks. PHNX takes the NFL combine. In the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review anywhere you get your podcast. Again, we'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. as the Kyler saga turns. Although, who knows? Maybe this statement, that's all we're going to get for some time. I would not be surprised.
You know what? I would be super happy if tomorrow we came in here and we didn't have to talk about Kyler Murray.
No.
We'll just talk about the future.
Thank you to everybody who's jumped on, upwards of almost 75 of you over the course of this podcast. Again, it's going to be anywhere you get your podcast. Do us a favor. Please show some class. Subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate it.
Hit that like button, please.
Hit that like button. I'm Johnny Venerable for Saul Bookman. We'll see you tomorrow.